Hi everyone, welcome. I'm over here on my computer, and usually when we come to my computer, it's to look at this sheet on my tracking spreadsheet. It's the sheet where I track all the status of all my different worm bins, showing over time what's occurred in them, and sometimes even showing what I'm kind of planning to do in the near future. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to go down to the bottom of the screen here and show you a couple other tabs that I've got in this document. You can see there's a number of tabs here, and a lot of them going over to the left you might recognize the names of. They're actually the tracking sheets for some of my time-lapse videos. And I've actually got a time-lapse video in progress at the present time. I did film a video showing the launch of that time-lapse when I originally placed the worms into the system. But that was the only time I provided any sort of a clue as to the fact that I had a time lapse going on. And that was 11 weeks ago now. 77 days. Today is the 77th day that system has been going now. So I just figured I would pull that up over here really quick. This is the tracker for that particular time lapse. So if we scroll up to the top, you'll see that this time lapse originally started on the 12th of January, which is when I had set the bin up, but it was a couple days later. I sort of let the system sit for a while. I did a few things. I added some ice and did some things, and it was only a little bit later that I finally got around to adding the worms, a couple days later, just to allow the video to have a little bit of lead-in footage prior to the worms entering. And then, I guess you could see I even had a little bit of a glitch over here at the very beginning. It was a little disheartening, but I had a couple of the light bulbs that are illuminating the system burn out, not into complete darkness, but it did sort of change the color cast, which I think I was able to correct pretty good in the editing software, so I just let it ride. And over time, you can see that I've had a number of different additions of food, additions of ice. On a couple occasions, I've retrieved footage out of the camera after waiting only maybe in some cases 6 days or 9 days, 11 days, etc. And the most current run, though, I've been kind of pushing it a little longer than normal, resisting the urge to pull the images off the camera to see what we're doing in there. And at the present time, on this particular run, we're now on day 33 of that particular run. It's the 5th session, and with the camera taking one photo every 5 minutes, and it's a slightly lower resolution image as well than normal. I believe it's a 7 megapixel image. When I use my Nikon DSLR, I'm shooting 24 megapixel images, I believe. So these 7 megapixel images, you could cram a whole bunch of them onto a 32 gigabyte SD card, and you can see I've even estimated the capacity. It does appear to me that you can go 42 days before that chip would run out. So we're about a week, 10 days away from that chip running out. But as you can see, today is April 1st, April Fool's Day, and it's 77 days since the worms got introduced into this system. And I wanted to just introduce another tracking page on this document, which I may never have even shown before, but it's this one right here. And if anyone remembers if I've shown this in the past, I'd be curious. I don't recall at this point, but I was getting curious to see if there was a way that I could sort of have one-stop shopping to compare all my time-lapse videos to one another in terms of how long they've lasted in terms of days. And I put them in order in terms of the oldest. My first time-lapse video was a 56-day time-lapse. The second, one of my more popular videos, was the pumpkin being devoured by worms over the course of 62 days. The third one was this 80-day bin, so on and so forth, down to this one right here, this 100-day 3-chamber carbon-only time-lapse. This video actually just hit 3 million views yesterday or the day before. So that's my highest viewed video. And that's actually the 100 day version. That's the 100-day version. You might notice on this the line continues and continues off to the edge of the screen, and all the way on the very edge you'll see that it says 145 over here. So I did actually allow that time lapse to continue on, and I do actually have a 145-day version of that too. It's not nearly as popular as the one that's been viewed 3 million times now, but either way, I do sort of count all of the views of these together sometimes, and besides the 3 million views, this one has a certain number, this other one over here has a certain number of views, and I've even got another version of this one, which is not the fast playback one that everyone sees typically, but it's the one where all the frames are shown throughout the entire time, and then some other stuff. But basically the one that we're working on right now is the last one here on the list, and it's the I've got it fairly generic in terms of how it's described. These are European night crawlers. It's the first time I've tried doing a time lapse with European night crawlers. So as you can see on the time scale, we're now at 11 weeks, 77 days today. I thought I would grab the camera and just shoot downstairs really quick to give everyone a quick peek at how it's looking right now. So why don't I turn the camera off here, and we'll shoot downstairs really quick, and we'll take a look at how it's coming along. So here we have the little filming booth that I prepare my time-lapse videos in sometimes, and it was about, I don't know, about half of these lights, the ones here on the back side that had burned out briefly. And I shouldn't jiggle them too much, because to get them to light up again, all I really did was jiggle them around, and they came back to life, and they've been that way ever since. So knock on wood, hopefully I didn't mess them up. I'd like for them to just keep burning at least till the end of this video, and then I'll get rid of them, I think, if they're not going to be dependable. But here's the time-lapse container. You can see that the camera doing the filming is my old GoPro. It's the GoPro that I was using up until just a few months ago to film all my videos down here in the wormery. And the container is just one of these clear plastic file folder hanger things from like your typical, you know, office supply type store. Somebody on Craigslist was giving a few of them away, kind of a curb alert. And I fetched a few of them. So I've got not only this one, but I believe 2 more, maybe 3 more of these things. And originally there was all kinds of layers of carrot shavings and cucumbers and different veggies down here mixed in with various types of bedding. And over time I've piled in other types of foods. I've put in cantaloupe, strawberries, different types of leaves and stuff like that. And this top layer that was most recently added not too long ago, it's COCO. And it's a little bit dry. Once in a while I'll come in here with some ice cubes. I like to use ice cubes in my time-lapse videos because it's sort of a nice slow time-release way of adding moisture to the system. And it looks kind of cool in the time-lapse too as the ice melts. So that's where we stand now at week 11 with my most current ENC time-lapse. I think we'll go back to the computer really quick just so I can show a couple quick, short, sneak preview shots of that time-lapse. The last time I took any footage off this camera was on day 44, so that was 33 days ago. Easy math, right? And so I've got those first, 6+ weeks already assembled into a video just to see how things are progressing. But over the past, 30 some odd days, I've not really had a chance to see how things are looking. So let's go back to the computer and I'll just give you a quick glimpse of how that looks before we finish up here. So here's what it looked like when it first started. So like I said, carrots, I believe that right there is cucumber. You could see some grit sprinkled in here, all those little white dots. All of this on top was coco coir. Down here we've even got some Brussels sprout leaves and stuff like that. So this is the way it began, and then it sat for a couple days until the worms got introduced. This is already day 5, day 14, day 27, day 35. Here you can see some remnants of what had been added. Some banana, some cantaloupe. And then here too, later on I came in with some other leaves of different types. so on and so forth. So this is about as far as it got after 44 days. So I'm really anxious to see how things are looking in here. And I guess the real question is, how much longer do I go? I mean, I really like the idea of maybe just ending it today. Maybe today, 77 days would be the end of the video. And there's really nothing dramatic happening in there right now, so it could certainly be the end of the video. But I'll have to decide. And I'll usually leave a little bit of run out time at the end too. So even though today might be the last day of the video, I'll usually want to leave a couple seconds worth of, continuing footage that shows, the worms continuing to do their thing and the bin continuing on as is, but then my little counter will stop and the music will fade away and so on and so forth. So I still have a couple days to decide if I'm going to continue or stop. But this was my quick little preview into how my current time-lapse is doing. I thought people might be interested in seeing how it looks, how my tracking of the whole thing is going, and all that other stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please remember to leave me a thumbs up. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel too. That's really appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching.